好，谢谢红人，Hello 大家，很开心可以跟大家在聚会，然后也谢谢 Tina 贝也有给我一个机会去做一个分享。其实就很快回应我们刚提的主题，就是我也很感恩 Tina 贝给我一个机会，给 Mag 一个机会，可以参与一个讲国语的环境，因为这个是一个对我们很好的帮助，然后我们也有学习很多。然后，对，我们也希望我们的中文也有进步。我们觉得有进步，所以就是很感恩大家的内心跟对啊，我觉得这个是对我们来说很好，所以就是谢谢大家。嗯，那谢谢。那这样子来说，那等一下我其实今天会用英文教这堂课，因为这几天我咳嗽蛮厉害，然后也感冒，然后也靠 James 老师跟我说的，就是我感冒咳嗽的时候，我会对讲国语过敏，所以我觉得，所以我觉得今天就是比较好是用英文，因为这样子我可以一段讲，然后洪文可以帮我翻译。然后他翻译之后，我可以在旁边咳嗽，所以这样子大家都会不要听到咳嗽的时候，嗯，所以那洪文，你可以帮我开放那个分享，
哦，对，
开放那个
不好意思，
share
等我
screen，
一下。
对，然后我会转台到英文，然后首先这也是为了你哦，你可以多听一点，然后你可以跟
OK
洪文的翻译对一下，所以就
OK，
好。现在好，
这个我的翻译的特色就是我可能会灵意解经，哦，不是，没有，就可能会听个大概，然后那个就讲这样，有时候可能会这个意思有点偏差，但是希望大家可以听得懂这样。好，
好，那我就现在开始喽。Okay, so today we're going to talk about the pursuit of work-life balance.
对，今天我们要讨论就是工作跟生活的平衡。
Yeah, and there are actually many ways we can talk about this. It can be very practical, or we could talk more deeply and philosophical.
对，就这个其实讨论这主题有很多种方式哦，我们可以很实用的，或是也可以很深入、很感性的探讨，也可以。
Today I'm going to choose to go deep.
对，今天我们就要很深、很深，深到你会害怕的探讨。
我没有这样子说，我没有这样说啊，我听懂了。
我知道，这是我自己加的，加戏加戏的。
好，没问题。And the reason why I plan to go a bit deeper is we're at the end of the year. We're about to start a new year, and then with Chinese New Year on the other end, it's a good opportunity for us to, do some reflection on our life.
对，就是为什么要比较深探讨，是因为今天刚好是一个新年呐、那新年是一个蛮好的时机，可以探讨人生这样。
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is use my story and Mag's story, use our story from the past 3 years to bring to life some of the principles that can help us design a good life.
对 ，Elb 老师会用他这近3年的这个人生，然后来讨论一些就是怎么样设计人生的一些原则。
Yeah, and so hopefully at the end, you'll be able to take away some principles or some practices that might help you in thinking about your own life.
对，所以就是希望大家可以在这课程里面学到一些原则，然后可以应用在我们自己人生上面去设计人生。
Yeah. All right, so back in 2018, I was working with World Vision in Hong Kong.
2018年 ，Elb 老师在那个世界展望会香港的分会工作。
And I had been working with World Vision all over Asia for over 12 years.
对，所以在这个之前的这12年呢、在 Elb 老师在亚洲的市展会都在工作这样。
And so after 12 years, I decided that maybe the time was right to leave and try something different.
对，12年就感觉差不多了，可以离职的尝试一些新的东西。
Right. And at the same time, I was also dating Mag, who I met in Hong Kong.
哦，在那个香港的时候，就刚好 Elb 老师也是跟那个 Mac 在约会，就在一起。
And she also decided to leave her job at the same time.
哦，所以那时候 Mac 他也决定要换工作了。
Now, Hong Kong is very expensive. You can't be unemployed and survive.
哦，香港的物价很贵，所以没有办法，就是没有工作，然后又在那边生活这样。
Yeah, 就活不下来。
对，活不下。
So yeah, so we need to decide, so we had to decide what we were gonna do next.
对，所以就要决定接下来要做什么。
And so we decided to move to Taiwan.
所以他们2位就决定要搬到台湾了。
Yeah, so at the end of 2018, we moved to Taiwan. And my family is from here, so they had a house we could use. So that worked out really nice.
对，所以2018年他们就搬到台湾，就住在这个家里的房子里面。
Yeah, so right now we're living in Danhai. Yeah.
然后现在住在淡海，这个非常靠海边、很冷的一个地方。我又加油添醋了。
And then when we moved to Taiwan, we also got engaged, and so we had a wedding to plan.
所以来台湾之后就订婚了，然后就有一个婚礼在那边举行。
Yeah, so we had so we had left our jobs, we moved to a new country, and now we're preparing for a new life together.
对，所以就是结束了上一个工作嘛，然后搬到一个新的国家，然后2个人结婚之后，他们就一起在规划一个新的人生。
Yeah, so during that time, I came across this book called Designing Your Life.
所以这个时候他们就有一本书叫做 Designing Your Life， 就是你如何设计你的人生。
It's written by two professors from Stanford University in the US.
他是斯坦福教授，斯坦福大学的2位教授一起写的。
Yeah, and they're out of the design school of Stanford.
对，他们现在在这个斯坦福设计学院里面，我好像也有这一本。
Yeah, and so when I came across this book, I felt like because we were in a new country with no work, about to go into marriage, into a new season of life, this is a great opportunity to design my next life, design our next life.
对，因为刚好那个时候就是刚好换工作，也是要结婚嘛，所以这是一个很好的时机，可以去设计自己的人生。
So today I'm going to talk about a few principles and practices that I did that got me to where I am today.
对，所以就是今天会讲一些之前他在设计人生的时候所应用的一些原则，然后以至于他现在可以设计出他的人生这样。
Yeah. And then but I won't share with you my life design up front. I'll make sure a little bit later because I don't want to influence how you might be thinking about your own life.
对，但是他怎么设计的话，先不要讲，对，因为他不想影响我们的想法。
Yeah. And I want to share with you before we begin this line. Your life is perfectly designed for the results you get.
对，你的生活是否完美，都是来自于你致力所得的。
Yeah. So if you think about your life right now and the results you're getting, from work, from your relationships, from all the from your community, the results you're experiencing now are a result of how your life is designed.
对，所以现在不管是我们的工作啊、我们的关系啊，还是我们的职场啊，这些其实都是它为什么会变成现在这样，其实都是我们设计来的。
Yeah, it's not coincidence. It's not by accident. It's a result of design.
对，也不是巧合，也不是意外，其实是一个经由设计而得来的结果。
So if you are looking at the results you are experiencing now and are not satisfied or not fulfilled, it's likely due to a big part because there's something in the design that needs to be adjusted.
所以如果现在你看你的人生啊，你如果觉得不是很满意，或是觉得你不是很喜欢这个结果的话，那其实要回去看的是你的设计是不是有问题。
And you're going to see the word design a lot in this presentation.
对，在这份简报里面一直看到 design 这个字，设计这个字。
The book itself, Designing Your Life, is based on the principle of design thinking.
对，这本书是根据这个设计思考来写的。
Right. And what design thinking is, it's a process of design. It's a process of identifying a root problem or issue, generating ideas to solve that problem. Lots of experimentation and failing, learning, and then finally discovering what works.
对，所以就像上面写的，设计思考是一个流程，然后它从定义最核心的问题，产生一个想法，进行实验，然后从中学习一些经验，找到可行方案，然后不断重复这个过程。
Design thinking is used in product development.
对，设计思考通常都用在产品的设计上面。
Right, because it's similar to what we learned last week from Anne. Right, you want to empathize, and see how, and understand what the needs of people are so that you can pitch to them, right? So you can develop something for them.
对，这跟上周我们在 End 的那个课程里面很像，就是我们需要对一个人有同理，知道他的问题是什么，然后提供给他价值，然后我们才可以 pitch 他。
So when it comes to a well-designed life, the product is our life.
对，那现在应用到人生上呢，这个要设计的产品呢，就是我们的人生。
Right, so then we need to start understanding what our needs are, what drives us in order to design a life that works for us.
对，所以我们就要了解我们的需求是什么，然后以至于我们可以设计一个人生是我们喜欢的，我们适合我们的人生。
Right, so to design our life, we need to think like a designer.
对，所以从现在开始，我们要学习像个设计师一样的思考。
Yeah. So there's actually, there's lots of ways to talk about design thinking. If you search it on Google, there's lots of different descriptions, but this is the simplest one.
对，这是 design think 设计思考最简单的一个定义，一个描述。
Yeah. So there's inspiration, and so that's where we understand what our needs are, where we're inspired by what drives us and what gives us meaning and gives us life.
对，第一阶段是 inspiration，就是这个比较灵感或者启发的这个阶段。那我们就要去看我们的需求，然后去发现说到底什么东西对我们来讲是有意义的。
And then there's the ideation, which is okay. So once we understand what gives us life, what are ideas that we can experiment with and play with to land something that works?
我们知道一些东西是重要或是有意义之后，我们就要开始想出一些办法啦，就是想这个怎么样的去设计了我们的人生可能会对我们是好的，开始想一些 idea。
And then we have to go do it. We have to go try it. It's not just in our heads, in our minds. We actually have to go do it.
对，当你对你的人生有一些想法之后，就是要去做，然后去试试看，这样。
Right. So design thinking, it might use the word the thinking, but it's actually very experiential. Like you have to go do things to learn.
对，虽然它叫做设计思考，可是其实它是非常的这个实验性、体验性的，它需要动手做的，你才会知道这个东西会不会 work。
Right. So I'm just sharing this briefly, just to give you a framework for how the rest of the conversation will go.
对，所以这只是这个分享，只是告诉，只是有一个框架，让我们知道可以怎么样继续往下看。
Right. So as we think about our lives for the rest of the next hour or so, let's put on our designer hat.
对，所以现在我们这个头顶上都戴着一个设计师的一个帽子，所以现在有人问你是谁，你就要说我是设计师。
Yes. So, as I mentioned earlier, design thinking is about identifying the root problem.
不好意思，我刚刚突然之间收讯断讯了一下，你刚刚说。
As I said earlier, design thinking is about discovering the root problem.
对，就是设计思考就是要找到那个最重要那个根的那个原因是什么。
Right. And so what I've learned from the book and what I reflected on the book was actually the question is not how do I achieve work-life balance? The actual problem is how might I live a full and meaningful life?
对，所以问题不是就是到底我要怎么样可以 work life 工作跟生活可以平衡，那问题是你要怎么样过一个很有意义而且圆满的生活。
Yeah, because if you just think about work-life balance, then you're just thinking about time management or priority setting. Like these are things that are good, but they don't actually create any change unless they're connected to something that is deeply meaningful to you.
对，因为大家的原本想要这个工作跟生活平衡的时候，大部分都想要时间管理啊，然后想到你怎么样去排你的时间啊。可是如果我没有去把它跟一个更深入的意义去连接的时候，那你这样子就是蛮盲目的在过生活，你到时候就算时间排得很满，可是还是不一定你过得很开心。
Yes, Rand translated it much better than my English there. That was really good. Thank you. 我听的也是很有进步了。So if the problem is how might I live a full and meaningful life, if that's the problem we're trying to solve, so where do we start?
对，所以我们要解决就是我们怎么样过一个圆满而且有意义的人生。
So the book suggested doing a life design assessment, and so this is something that I done.
对，那个书里面有提到说，就是我们要对自己的生活做一些评估。
Right, and then there are 4 categories: so health, play, work, and love.
对，有四个大项，就是大项，就是那个健康啊、玩乐啊、工作跟你的爱这样。
Yeah. So health, it's like it's basically spine. If you remember, we did spine in the last season. It's like how well is your spine?
对，所以健康这一块就是我们之前谈过的 spine 嘛，就是5个这个全人的健康。
Yeah. Play are those things where you do just because you enjoy it. There's no goal. There's no, accomplishment. It's just you just enjoy doing it. You just want to play. It gives you energy. It gives you life.
那个玩乐这件事，就是你做这件事情你会很开心啊，然后就也可以没有什么目的，反正做这件事情就是会很开心。
Yeah. And then love has to do with our relationships, with family, with children, our community, our pets.
爱的话，主要跟关系有关嘛，是家庭、小孩啊，或是 brioche。
Yeah. And brioche is our dog. And then work is work. Work is the thing that we're paid to do. It's the things that we're responsible to others for, right? There are things that we have some obligations to do.
对，工作就是你有责任要完成，或是有人付钱给你，让你来做。
Right. So the book encourages us to do a quick assessment on like where we are today. Because if you want to go somewhere else, you have to know where you are today.
对，所以就当我们想要设计人生，我们想要有一个不一样的人生的时候，我们就要先评估我们现在的人生到底是什么样的状态。
Okay, so now I'm going to share some personal stuff. So I actually did the homework and I journaled it. So I want to share with you like my journal entries from January 2019.
哇，真的吗？就是在2019的时候，这个 Albert 自己有做过这个 assessment， 然后他现在就要分享他那个时候写下来的内容。
Yeah. So on health, I was full because I just started training for a triathlon. So I felt like I was very fit. I was eating well, I was sleeping well. So I felt like, from 0 to full, I was quite full on health.
就在健康这方面的分数评估，就是那个 Albert 几乎就是满分啦，因为那时候要开始3铁嘛，所以这个非常的健康。
Yeah, so you can see on the health front, I'm doing really well. 自己写的, right? So that's my handwriting.
对，就是做得非常好，非常健康。
On play, it was not completely full, but some full because we were just moving, and so we're transitioning to Taiwan.
因为那时候在搬到台湾，所以对，好像还没有满分这样。
Yeah, but we were planning a lot of travel, so we were planning to play a lot because we were going to travel a lot that year.
但是因为那个时候就是有规划很多这个旅行啊，所以这感觉还有这个一些分数。
Yeah, and then our love, of course, it's full because Mag decided to move with me to Taiwan, and we were engaged to be married. So the love tank was very full at the time.
哇，所以爱的这个当然就是满分啦，因为那个时候 Mag 跟 Alba 是要订婚，然后他们一起搬到台湾嘛，所以就是这个粉红泡泡。
I recently got engaged to Mag. Very exciting, right? I'm not making it up. I wrote this 2019.
Really?
Yeah, this is my handwriting. And
Did you write it yesterday?
This is not yesterday. This is 2019. Right here in my journal.
对，我刚才跟 Alba 开玩笑
，Brioche 也有吃到我的运势。
对。
And then on work, it was near 0 because I was unemployed, but it was by choice, right? I decided to leave, but then I didn't have work at the time.
对，但是在工作方面几乎是0分啦，因为就是那时候是没有工作嘛。虽然这是一个他自己的选择，但那个时候就是还没有工作这样。
Yeah. So 0分 doesn't necessarily mean bad. It's just that's where it was at, right? Because it was by choice.
对，0分不代表不好啊，那只是他现在就是没有，那个是他的选择。
So this was my life assessment back in early 2019.
对，这个2019的时候，他的这个生活的评估的做出来就是这样。
Yeah. So I just want to take a pause right now and invite all of you to also do a quick assessment.
OK， 所以现在我们就是要稍微要做，对我们自己的人生也做一些评估。
Yeah. So if you want, you can have a piece of paper or pen next to you and write it for yourself. Or if you are brave enough, you can share in the chat box and we can see how everyone is doing. It's up to you.
OK， 好，那我们现在就花一点时间，我们就可以拿一个纸笔啊，或者是你可以放在 chat box 里面，然后我们可以来写一下，在刚刚那个四个方面，你过得好不好
Okay, so on health, from 0 to 5, 0 being feeling unwell, like unfit, to 5 feeling like fully fit and healthy. Like, where are you right now on 0 to 5? You can either type in your chat box or write it down for yourself.
好，我们可以在那个聊天室里面用，或者是说就是那个可以自己写下来。第一个是健康的分数，0分到5分，你会打几分？好，我自己写个3分好了。
Okay, not bad, not bad. All right.
哦，Mag 竟然只有4分哎！Mag, you're so healthy.
Okay, and then on play, where are you with play right now?
Oh, play.
Are you able to play and enjoy life?
Oh. Can we do 2.5?
You can do whatever makes sense to you.
对，所以玩乐这个是几分？哎，忘了翻译了，顾着回答，忘了翻译。
All right. Okay. And then on love, where are you on your love tank right now?
哦，你的这个爱跟关系的分数是几分？哇，有人打7分
打7分，哇！
我满分其实是5分呢。
Five. Oh.
哦，我是单身，所以只有2.5分，只有一半。
It doesn't just have to be marriage. It doesn't have to be marriage. It could be anything in your relationships.
对，只要跟关系、对，跟爱有关的就可以。
Okay, and then where are you on work right now?
哦，工作这个东西，哎，不错不错，工作有高一点，给个4分。哎呦，Mag work 0。
Yeah. Okay.
哇，倩工作有5分呢，好棒哦。
Oh, she changed it from 5 to 4. Okay, housework 5.
哎，倩是打错啊，你不是5分，你是打错。
Okay, so when you look at your life assessment with health, play, love, and work, I would say look at it right now and don't look at it with any judgment. Don't think, oh, this is bad or this is good. Just like this is just where your life is right now, right? This is just where your life is right now.
对，我们看这些测验，先不要去评断它啦。其实这个没有好或不好，这就是我们的现况而已，没有好或不好。
You know, and the real question you should ask is like, where do I feel like I need some adjustment? Like, where do I want it to, you know, where do I want to adjust things to go up?
但是我们可以想想，这些分数里面有没有一些我们可以调整，让这个分数可以上升。
Right. So just hold that in your mind right now as we continue on this journey.
对，就让这个分数跟这个调整放在你的脑子里面，然后我们会继续的探讨后面的课程。
Yeah. So now that we have a sense of where we are, we want to start building a compass towards where we want to go.
我们需要建立一个 compass， 现在正在建立。
Yeah. So designing your life talked about two aspects of our life that we can use to build this compass.
对，我们等一下在设计的人生这个思考里面，我们会考虑到2个方向，可以来建立我们的指导方针。
Right. The first is our view of work.
第一个是你的工作观。
Yeah. So how do we view work? Like, and how do we define work for ourselves? Like, what does work mean to us?
对，工作观就是你怎么定义你的工作，然后还有一个好的工作对你而言，它是需要哪些条件？
Yeah, what does the ideal work mean to you?
对，就像你的理想工作是怎么样的工作？
Yeah. So there's your work view, and then there's your life view.
对，第二个就是人生观。
Yeah. So for your life view, this is how do you define what matters most to you? What are the values and perspectives that shape your life?
人生观就是你觉得哪些事情最重要，然后这些价值观会构成你对人生的了解。
Yeah. And so with your work view and your life view, we're talking about your ideal state. Like this is what you want work to be. This is what you want life to be.
对，所以这个讲到工作观跟人生观，它其实就是一个我最理想的状况。这个就是我工作跟人生最理想的状况是怎么样子。
Yeah. And so now I'm going to share with you what my work view is and what my life view is. I typed it out because you can't read my handwriting. So I typed it out here. You're not going to see my journal.
所以这个 Albert 老师要跟我们说他的工作观跟人生观是什么。
Yeah. And again, this is what I wrote back in 2019, right? So I haven't revised anything. This is exactly what I wrote 2 years ago.
这也是2019的时候写的哦，对，这不是昨天才写的，当时候写的，对。
Okay, here we go. All right. Now I wrote a lot, so I only pulled a few bullet points here, right? So meaningful work to me is, using my God-given and God-shaped gifts and talents to serve a mission.
对，就是运用一些上帝给他的这个恩赐，然后来做，就是来完成一些任务。
Yeah, meaningful work is uniquely fit for who I am and my own skills and capabilities.
对，所以这个工作要蛮独特的，而且要跟他这个人的这个特质啊，然后跟他能够做的事情是要可以符合的。
Yeah, meaningful work engages my whole person.
跟他的全人都有关，身心灵全人都有关系。
Yeah, meaningful work helps make the world a better place.
这个好的工作要让这世界可以更好。
Right? Meaningful work is hard, sometimes painful. It requires endurance and determination, but it will be worth it if my goals are clear.
对，所以这个一个有意义的工作其实有时候是要蛮困难的，有时候可能也要蛮不舒服的，然后需要忍耐跟决心。但是就是这个目标是要他值得奋斗，他就可以忍耐下去。
Yeah, and the meaningful work leads to reward and recognition, compensation, but it's a natural outpouring because I do the work, because I'm doing what I love to do.
对，所以一个好的工作它是需要一些好的，它就是可以有不错的薪水，然后可以有好的名声。那这些名声其实是 OK 的，因为他是很认真工作的，要得到这些东西是应该的。
Right. So wanted to highlight here that, for my definition of meaningful work, I don't talk about what I will do. Like it doesn't talk about I will do communications, I will be a CEO, I will, it doesn't talk about a specific job.
所以要特别注意的时候，大家有没有注意到 Albert 老师在列这些他觉得很有意义的工作观的时候，其实他不是在讲特别某一个职位，他不是在说他是 CEO， 也不是在说他是做 communication 的，他其实列出了他理想中的那个工作形态到底是什么样子。
Right. So I could be called to do many different jobs, many different types of jobs, but then meaningful work for me is these things in any kind of role.
对，所以就是这个他很多不同的工作角色，其实都可以跟他的这个 meaningful 的这个条件是有关系的，
Right.
不一定局限在说他就是很特定的一个职位。
Right. So this gives me a lot of opportunity to do a lot of different things because I think a lot of different things can achieve these things. Yeah.
对，所以也可以做很多不同的事情，然后来得到这个他想要得到的东西。
Yeah. And then, so that's my work view, right? And then now my life view, has two components there. It's, meaningful life is grounded in my faith in God and also in pursuit of connection.
对，那这个人生观里面，它就分成两个，那一个就是在信仰里面的一些成长，另外一个就是在这个人跟人连结的这个中间。
Right, and so for my grounded in faith view, it's basically, my purpose is to live out my calling by God.
OK 所以最重要就是活出呼召。
Right, but in the process of determining the calling, I have the freedom to choose different paths.
对，就所以在回应这呼召过程，他有这个自由可以选择他的这个方式跟方法。
But regardless of whatever paths I choose, I know God is with me, whether the consequences are good or bad. But I know that God is with me no matter what.
但是不管选择什么，他都知道上帝跟他同在。
Right, so that gives me confidence to just keep moving forward and keep trying because God is always with me.
对，所以也就是这个信心呢，让他就可以有信心，不断的这个向前不断的去尝试，因为他知道上帝与他同在。
Right, and I'm a steward of my health, my well-being, my relationships. Like these are gifts that God has given me that I need to take care of.
对，所以这还有一个观念就是他是一个好管家啊，这个管家是健康啊，然后他的关系啊，然后他的财产啊，要做一个好管家。
Yeah. And then in terms of pursuit of connection, I want to take everything that God has given me and extend the same to those around me, my family, my friends, those I haven't met yet. I want to be able to transfer all of these things to other people too.
OK， 所以在建立连接这块，他就是希望他从上帝那边得到的东西，他就可以给他身边周遭的所有人，家庭啊、Meg 啊，就是把这个爱也一样给出去。
Yeah, and I also know that curiosity, learning, and compassion are how I help myself and others navigate life, get through life.
对，所以还有一些就是像那个好奇心啊，然后学习啊，然后这个就是各种不同的，然后也可以就是可以用它帮助他自己的方式来帮助别人。
Right. So just in summary, like faith and connection were the two big things for me that I know will make my life meaningful.
所以他的人生观，或者说他人生中觉得很有意义的两件事情，一个就是信仰，另外一个就是那个连结。
Yeah. And then so the exercise here is to look at your work view and your life view to see if they complement each other or if they clash.
OK， 所以现在有一个重点就是，你可以看看你的工作观跟你的人生观，看他们两个是互补的，还是他们两个是冲突的。
Right? Because I think if your work view and your life view clash, or if there are areas of those two areas that don't align, that's where you might feel difficulty with work-life balance.
所以如果你的工作观跟人生观是冲突的时候，那你就很难达到工作跟生活的平衡，因为他们两个会互相拉扯。
Right. So it doesn't matter how you design, if your view of work and your view of life are different, then that's why it's very difficult to feel like you're living like a full life.
对，不管你怎么设计啊，但如果你的人生观跟你的工作观有很大的冲突，你就是很难兼顾两者。
So this is what I mean about going deep. Like if you work-life balance, if that's what you want, starts here, being very clear about what meaningful work is for you and what a meaningful life means to you.
对，所以这就为什么我们前面说今天会比较深入的探讨，因为就是我们不是探讨工作跟生活平衡，我们是探讨你的工作观跟你的生活观是什么。
Yeah. So I was going to break us up into small groups now, but I think we're a small group here, right? I think there's only 13 of us, and I think we're all good friends here. So what do you think, Rand? Should we just keep it in this group and just have a big conversation?
Yeah, 我们可以分成两组，6个。
Okay. Then I'm going to maybe do like maybe like a 7-minute conversation.
Okay.
And just based on what I've shared around work view and life view, I know I haven't given you a lot of time, but think about what your work view is and what your life view is, and whether they complement or they clash. And or think about how well do you think your life values fit into your work right now.
Mm-hmm.
And just have a conversation around kind of what you think about this concept of work view and life view.
OK， 好，所以我们可以讨论一下你的工作观跟人生观是什么。好，有7分钟的时间嘛，对不对
？Yep.
好，那我们来分组喽。
How was Hong Ren? How was the conversation on your end?
我们很酷，我们都是一些非典型的回答，因为大家一般讲到工作观，想要赚钱，然后讲到人生观，就会想要家人嘛。可是我们都是一些非典的回答。
Yeah.
对。
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's why it's good. It's a good practice to kind of think about both and then see where they come together. Right.
所以这是一个很好练习，就是可以把这个工作观、人生观都想一想，然后看这两个的是否互动良好。
Yeah, that's right. Well, thanks all for doing that. I know we're doing this very quickly, but again, just wanted to share that these are good practices to reflect on.
对，虽然我们执行的时间很短啊，真的只有7分钟，但是可以自己回家做一些练习。
Yeah. So now that we've talked about our life design assessment, so where we are today, and then we've talked a bit about building our compass for a direction for where we want to go towards.
对，所以我们刚刚之前讲这些内容，然后现在讲到就是要建立一个 compass.
Yeah. So the compass really is your work view and your life, like your ideal work view and your ideal life view. Like that's the direction you want to move in.
这指导方针就是你理想中的工作跟人生，那这个就是你想要前进的那个方向。
Yeah. So when you do the work view and life view, it's not about where you are today. It's if I can do work like if work can look like this, if my life could look like this, like that's perfect.
如果两个
that's what you want to write. Yeah.
对，如果就是你写的时候，你就要写下说，就是如果我有一个完美的工作，它长什么样子；如果我有一个完美的人生，它长什么样子。先不要管它可不可以，但是你先把你最理想的东西就先写下来。
Yeah, right. Because that is your compass. That's the direction you want to move towards.
因为那个就是一个最好的方向，是你最想要往那个方向前进。
And a coach was telling me when you write your work view and when you write your life view and you read it and you're not excited about what you wrote, start over, do it again.
所以有一个很好的一个原则，就是如果你写下来之后啊，你发觉就是你对这个工作或是对这个人生一点都不期待，一点都不兴奋的话，那麻烦你重写。对，这是很好的原则。
Yeah, because you want to articulate a work view and a life view that gets you excited. Like, yeah, like this is it.
对对，因为你想要的目标应该是那种会让你很兴奋的，这个就是要做这个事情的，才是很好的目标。
Right. Or when you see this work view and this life view, you say, yeah, this is me. This is who I am and what I want to be.
啊，有时候也不一定是很兴奋，但是你会很肯定说，哦，对，这个就是我，这个就是我想要的。
Yeah. Yeah. So if you can reach that point, then that compass is strong.
对，所以如果你设定目标的时候，你可以设定到这种，要么你就是很兴奋，要么你就是很肯定，那这个目标就是很好的目标。
Yeah. So I'm going to take a quick moment to talk about now that we have our current state and we have our compass. There's one more thing I want to talk about before we go to idea about like what's going to get us, like what is going to help us break through.
OK， 所以当我们有了这个现况，我们也有一个理想中的状态之后呢，那我们现在就要探讨中间这一段差异怎么样可以这个有一个设计一个路径。
Yeah, and it's something that it's just the stories we might tell ourselves about limiting and liberating beliefs, like the things that we tell ourselves that will hinder us or help us.
OK， 所以从那个现况到那个未来理想状态当中，其实有一个隔阂，就是我们的信念。那这个信念呢，就是它有两种，一种是在限制你的信念，然后另外一种是使你可以得自由、可以释放的信念。
Right. So here's some examples of some limiting beliefs where you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm helpless." 我的状况就是我的状况. Like there's nothing I can do. Work is not supposed to be, or maybe you think work is not supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be work. You might think I'm stuck, or you might think I have to find the one thing I'm supposed to do. And if I don't find the one thing, then I'm a failure.
所以这个左边这一些这个信念都是比较限制的信念，例如说我很无助啊，工作很无聊啊，我卡关了，我没办法。然后那个我只能找到一个对的答案，要不然我就错了。对，这都是一些这个在局限我们的信念。
Yeah. So as you think about your views, think about also what beliefs you have of yourself right now that might limit you from exploring what's possible.
那这些信念都会让你没有办法去探索未来的可能性。
Yeah. So you need to think about, okay, how can we how do we move from limiting to move it to a more liberating belief?
对，那就是右边这些就是比较开放、比较自由的一些。
So from helpless to there are things I can control and change. From work is not supposed to be enjoyable to a job I enjoy is the right job for me. I'm stuck goes to I'm never stuck because I can generate a lot of ideas. And I have to find the one right idea. It could be I can explore a lot of ideas and possibilities. Just have to change your mindset.
对，那这个右边的这个信念就是比较开放、比较自由。它这个右边信念可以让我们能够去探索新的可能性，要不然我们都会找不到办法。
Yeah. For me, when I was going through this process, I was stuck on the last one. I have to find the one right idea. Like I was stuck at like, what is my next job going to be? What is the one thing I'm supposed to do? Like I was stuck there.
对 ，L 老师以前卡关过，他就卡关在最后一个，就是我一定要找到，就是我下一个工作是什么工作，要非常精确，就是要什么什么什么什么。 那他就卡在这个观念上面。
Yeah, so what we're going to do next is talk more about, okay, so how do we break out? How do we break through some of these limiting beliefs? And how did I break through out of that one?
对，所以下面就要谈怎么样去突破这些限制你的信念。
看时间 Okay. I was gonna maybe we can spend 3 minutes on this before I move on. Like maybe three minutes in small group. It'd be interesting to share within your small group, what beliefs do you have that you think you have right now that might be limiting, that you might need to reframe?
对，有没有什么信念是你可能要重新架构，或是你必须要丢掉它的？
Yeah.
好，3分钟的时间，火速开始。
我们刚刚讨论如何？
我们刚刚挺好的，我们发现有时候我们跟 Albert 老师一样，常会卡在第4个，就是一定要找到一个对的答案，那就会很害怕。但是殊不知，其实可以先试试看，或是探索更多的可能性。
对，这个是很好的 segue. This is a great segue into what we're going to talk about next.
对，就这个接到下面的这个讨论是很好。对。
Yeah. So now we have our assessment of where we are. We have a compass. We are dealing with our limiting beliefs and reframing them into possibility. Now we can start coming up with ideas for what's going to be.
Yeah. 对，有了一个现况，然后再也找到了这个理想的状况了之后，然后而且还这个移除了一些这个限制我们的信念之后，我们就可以来想，到底有什么方式可以达到我们的理想
？Right. And the whole idea, and this is going back to design thinking now, like the idea behind ideating is to just throw out a lot of ideas, like just what's possible. Because the thinking is you won't know what you want until you think about what you might want, right? So you just have to just throw out a lot of ideas.
所以这阶段的重点不是找到一个对的答案哦，这一阶段的重点是你必须要有很多不同的想法。那它的一个核心的一个理念就是，你不会知道你要的是什么，除非你有知道哪些是可能的选项，要不然你不会知道。
Right, because if you can see what might be possible, you don't know what inspiration might be sparked from what these ideas bring.
对，所以你一定要先让很多 idea 都产出之后，你才会知道到底哪一个是你要的。
Right, because you choose better when you have lots of ideas to choose from.
对，当你很多点子的时候，你就可以做出很好的选择。
Right, so the idea is when you think about your life design, is come up with a lot of ideas. Don't think about just one or two, but a lot, because then you're able to 跳出你的框框, right? Jump out of your box and look at.
对，所以这个重点就是要很多的想法，那试着去跳出你的框框。对，就是换我咳嗽了。我们两个是，我本来是讲话的时候就我咳嗽这样。对，所以这边要产出很多的想法。
Right. And the key here is you never choose the first. You have one idea, keep going. Like you never choose the first solution to any problem.
对，所以这个重点中的重点就是，千万不要你一有了想法你就选那个答案，尽可能就是产出更多的可能性，然后我们再来探索。
Yeah. At my old job at World Vision, we had a practice. It was called 100 ideas.
哦，所以他们以前有个实务的做法，就是这个做法叫做100个想法。
Yeah, so we were encouraged that we wouldn't start choosing until we had 100 ideas on the board.
所以他们在没有100个想法之前，他们不会做决定啊，非常厉害。
Because once you have 100 ideas, you can group them, you can theme them, and you can get them down into kind of where your energy really is.
所以当你有100个想法的时候，你可以就是把它分组啊、分类啊、分析啊，然后找到那个真的让你感到兴奋那个是什么 idea。
Right. So when you do this exercise for yourself and how you design your life or your direction, just give yourself, say, all right, I'm going to come up with 50 ideas. And then after 50 ideas, then I will start thinking about which one to go with.
所以我们有一个很好练习，就是我们可以尽可能去产出很多。例如说，我就是要50个未来关于我的人生的 idea， 然后有了50个之后呢，我再来做一些分类啊、分组啊、分析啊这些。
Right, because then you give yourself a better chance to explore what's possible outside of your box. Yeah.
对，所以才会有更多的机会可以去探讨，就是在你的框架之外有没有可能更好的选项。
Yeah. So I'm going to share from my journal again.
所以这以下又是 Elba 他自己的笔记啦。
So when I did this exercise, I came up with four possibilities for the next period of my life.
对，所以在那个时候，他的人生设计，他有4个新的 idea。可是刚刚不是说要50个吗？怎么只剩下4个
？These are the four I ended up with, not the 50.
哦 ，OK， 所以可能从50个之后呢，大概就剩下4个这样。
We don't have time for all 50.
OK， 4个对。
Right. These are going to be kind of boring, but this is just what I ended up with. So there's my leadership track, right? So I was like, okay, I feel strongly about being a good leader. So I had a 5-year plan for how am I going to be like a CEO someday, right?
对
So yeah.
所以有一个5年的计划是关于领导力的，怎么样在5年内变成一个 CEO。
Yeah, but it wasn't just about leadership. I also included, because we want life balance, right? I also talked about, okay, I want to learn about coaching. I want to start a family also, and also want to keep running Ironmans, right? So even though I had a career direction, I want to make sure I also make room for the other aspects of my life too.
对，所以除了就是一些这个职涯上面的方向，那他还是有安排一些人生的一些他想要要素，比如说他想要做一个 coach， 想要建立家庭，想要继续跑3铁这样。
Right. So it was career track, but also a life track too, to make sure that these things remained on the radar.
对，他是他这个职涯发展的路径，但同时也是他人生的一个蓝图。
Yeah, and so the title I gave it was Leading Nonprofits Towards Impactful Futures. So that was kind of like 一个开头, like a title theme for this track.
对，他自己帮他下了一个标题啊。
Yeah. Oh, 标题, yep. Next was academic. So I was like, oh, maybe I want to go back to school, right? Get a PhD. So this is like my PhD track.
对，所以下一个是关于学术性的，这是关于读博士这件事情。
Right. So my title here was Discovering and Sharing Wisdom and Insight. Right. So I want to learn so I could share.
Wow. 所以就是希望可以再学习，然后他可以分享。
Right. So that's my academic track. Okay. I also had这个是跳出我的框框. This is my adventure track.
哦，这关于冒险的。
Because I really like scuba diving. So I said, well, maybe I could be a scuba instructor, 一个潜水教练. Right?
对，潜水教练。
Right. So maybe I can go be a scuba instructor. And then, after 5 years, after some experience, I can open a scuba shop cafe. Because Mag can have the cafe part. I can have the scuba shop, I can have scuba cafe.
所以5年之内，他们可能会在这个潜水的圣地就开一间咖啡厅。
Right. And then, and then a consulting track. Maybe I want to start a consultancy, right? And start, running a business and be, 一个创业者, like become an entrepreneur.
对，所以还有关于就是在做这个顾问的，然后就是可以开一间顾问公司这样。
Right. So this is like my own practice, my own way. Like I'm going to walk, I'm going to do something on my own.
对，这就是他自己的一个规划。
Right. Now, so I had these 4 tracks. So they're all different. But then here's the thing that I want to share. This is plan A, plan A, plan A, plan A. It's not plan B, plan C, plan D.
这些都是第一个方案而已，就是还没有看到其他的方案。
Yeah, this is all plan A. So the idea is when you get to your ideas, you want to choose ideas that you're excited about all of them. If any of them happen, you're very excited, and they would be just as awesome.
OK， 所以就是你一定要找到，就是每个方案你是要感到很开心的。那只要这个方案就是真的成真了，你就会很开心的那种。
So you have your 3 or 4 directions that are all awesome, and it's only about the path you choose.
所以你最好的状况之下，你就是找到4、5个方向，每个方向你都觉得它超好的。那反正就是到最后就是选一个，不管怎么选，你都觉得它超好的。
Right, because if you go with the plan A, plan B, plan C, then you get to plan D. Is if you have that mindset, then if you have to do plan D, you're thinking, oh, it could have been this, it could have been that. You don't feel as good about your plan D. But if they're all plan A, it's just the path you choose.
对，所以如果这些都是你真的觉得超好的方案的话，你就是怎么选你都很开心。但如果你总是往那个你觉得比较不好的选，你就会觉得很委屈。
That's right. So this is one activity that the book had recommended. I thought was really fun. So So in real life, I started a consultancy. I chose consultancy.
对，所以在这个现实生活里面，在这4个方向里面，就是 Albert 老师就开始了他自己的顾问公司。
Right. So in 2020, after I got married, I opened a consultancy here in Taiwan, and then now, my client is, I've, now I'm working with clients.
对，所以2020就是 Albert 老师成立他的顾问公司，然后现在就开始服务一些客户了。
Yeah. But because these are plan A, plan A, plan A, that means these other plans are also available to me, if the opportunity comes up.
但因为这4个机会 ，Albert 老师都觉得很好，所以就是他也可以先做其中一个，然后等到后面有其他有机会的时候再做其他的，他都还是觉得很好这样。
Yeah. So right now, I'm actually applying for a PhD right now.
对，所以现在他开始要准备要选那个 academic 的那个方案。
Right. Because I already made that possibility real for me 3 years ago. So when this opportunity comes up, I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Like that was an idea I really liked.
哇，因为他3年前就已经想好了，然后现在突然有机会跑出来，他就知道这个是我要的。
Yeah. So if the opportunity comes up, then I can choose that path as well. So again, this is like a plan A goes into a plan A.
对，所以他再怎么选都是最好的方案啦，怎么选都是赞啦。
Right. So I'm sharing with you as another encouragement to think about, once you have your work-life view done, then this is fun to do after that, because now you can see that my work view and my life view, it is in all of 4. It can happen in all 4 of these.
对，所以我觉得这个东西就是 Albert 老师讲到现在，我已经决定要去把所有的方案都列出来了。每当这个你想到这个各种不同的方案的时候，其实你真的就是很开心，然后觉得人生充满了很好的可能性，然后每个都是你想要的。
Yeah, because again, the meaning of my work isn't limited to it has to be this job, it has to be in this place. It's not limiting. These are just some basic core needs or core or core things that have to be there for me to enjoy my work.
对，所以其实这一些都是这个 Albert 老师他人生中想要的一些元素。那这跟我们前面在定义工作观的时候的定义很有关系。如果你那个时候就是把工作观定义成你要某一个特定的职位，那你现在就没有办法这样选了。所以这个是前面定义的时候就要特别注意。
Yeah. So that's designing my life like on the grand scale, on the grand direction. But I also want to share a quick snapshot into what my daily life looks like, because that gets practical.
对，那在这样的这个人生设计底下，接下来 Albert 老师就要来分享一下他每一天日常生活长什么样子，可以实践这个蓝图。
Yeah. So my current life design, right? Again, I've organized it into love, work, and health and play to make sure those aspects are all covered.
对，所以刚刚就是有这4个方面。
Right. So for family, I want to spend as much time as possible with them and take, regular holidays to make sure we have that core time. And then in order, and then I want to have time for my community as well. So church, Team Innovate, these things are all important to me. So I want to make sure I make time for love in my life, because that's, like my life view, right? Like God's love for us in relationships is paramount.
这就回应到他的人生观。那在这个 love 这里面就有跟家人有关，跟他的社群有关。
Right. And then for work, in order to make those hours possible, I have to cap my actual work hours. So, I'll work between 35, 40 hours a week.
对，所以就是工作在这个 consulting 跟 coaching 上面大概是35到45个小时一周。
Yeah, and then for my health, I train for triathlon, so I plan 8 to 10 hours a week of training, and then I also make sure I sleep at least 7 hours a day.
哇，所以健康方面就是这个3铁的训练要8到10个小时一周，然后那个每天睡7个小时。
Right, and then for play, reading, learning, I'm in a book club. Downtime. I mean, I just subscribed to Disney Plus, so a lot more hours there. YouTube. So you have to make room for downtime and fun and play as well.
所以要特别留一些时间，也是要在休息跟玩乐上面啦。就像 Albert 最近订了这个 Disney Plus。
Right. So if you look here, it's all pretty basic, right? It's not game changing. It's not like wow. So, but for me, like in order to do the things I want to do, I just have to keep it simple and just make sure my priorities are everything else I've said earlier about my plans and my work and life view.
对，这虽然这个看起来没有什么特别，但其实这个就是呼应他前面的这个工作观跟人生观，这两个是 align 起来的。
Yeah, yeah. So you just want to make sure the practicalities of your life, align with, your work and life views. So this is just even a further breakdown of what the structure of my day is like. Yeah.
所以这就是他的日常生活。哇，6点就起床了。对。
Yeah. So in order for me, so actually, I start my day scheduling sleep. So I know if I want to sleep minimum 7 hours, 8 hours, then I have to shut down by 9:30, wake up by 6. So I have to walk the dog too, right? Family is important, so I have to walk the dog. So, so then everything else comes in between like those things, right? So again, I'm trying to schedule to my priorities.
对，所以就是要按照重要顺序把它这个排在你的日常生活里面。
Right, and then Wednesday, Saturday, Sundays are more flexible. But then, the daily schedule is by Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So, every week I have an idea what my design will look like to make sure I cover these things. Yeah.
对，有时候也要保留一些弹性，像礼拜三就比较有弹性。
Right. And these are just I'm not saying you need to do the schedule. These are just the choices that I'm making for what is important for me. And so the homework for all of us is how are you scheduling and how are you making decisions that align with what's important for you?
对，这个是 Albert 老师的选择，我们不一定每个人要跟他一样，但是我们都要做选择，就是要选择符合我们想要的人生的选择。
Right. So just to make sure that, when you get down to work-life balance, it's actually not work-life balance. It's just life. Like you have one life, and then how does it all work together?
对，没有工作跟生活的平衡，其实就是在讲你怎么设计你的人生啊。
Yeah. Yeah. Because work is part of life. You spend most of our hours at work, so that is life to a large degree.
对，工作就是你人生当中的一部分，它不应该分开的。
Yeah. So, excuse me. So this is just an example of how my journey from 2019 has ended up to how it looks now. And even for me, when I was preparing for this lesson, it was just like, oh wow, like I'm actually pretty proud I've been pretty consistent, because I had thought I'd done the homework up front.
对，所以这就是2019到现在 Albert 老师一些人生设计上面的分享，然后发现就是，其实他这样一路走来，就是其实他蛮一致的。现在就是他这个有了新的机会，他还是觉得，那就是当初我想，其实他一直都在往他那个理想目标前进。
And you can see up top, it's like daily structure version 1366. Again, with design, it's constantly changing, right? So you have to constantly be able to adapt and, adjust. So this daily schedule has been a result of many, many iterations, like many different versions. But this is the one that I'm living now.
对，这个 schedule 是经过很多次的修改才会变成这样的。对，真的是有1300多次吗？
I don't know. I stopped.
It's a metaphor or it's literally
it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor.
OK 对，他就是修改过很多次才变成现在这样。
Yeah. Yeah. So, because next I need to redesign, right? Because if I'm going to go apply for a PhD and do a PhD, my life is going to need to be redesigned to fit that, right? Because I still want to work part-time. So it's going to be redesigned again. And then I'm training for an R2tier in Sanxiang. So that's the longest race I've ever done. So obviously I'll need probably more time to train. So this schedule that you see here, it's going to go into redesign over the next few weeks after I run the half marathon. Yeah. Yeah.
所以马上这个时间表就要重新设计啦，因为又有一些新的事情想要做，例如说就是要申请 PhD 啊，然后要去跑一个这个有史以来最长的这个铁人三项的这个活动。
Yeah. So, but then the thing is that the schedule is I'm choosing my schedule. The schedule is not choosing for me, right? I'm not letting external influences like plan my life. I'm doing my best to make sure I can control what I can control and planning according to what my priorities are.
对，所以不是时间表在控制 Albert 老师，是 Albert 老师在控制他自己的时间表。
Yeah. Oh, Carol wants to do art early in 5 years. Perfect. That's one kwang jia that we can talk about. That's amazing. All right. So so I wanted us to break out back into our small groups. I hope what I've shared so far has inspired some thinking for what ideas are bubbling up in your own minds. And just take a moment in the next, maybe let's take 5 minutes
Okay.
Yeah, 5 minutes. We're coming to the end, so don't worry. This is the last one. 5 minutes just to think about what ideas are popping in your mind right now. Just share what's popping in your mind right now.
对，我们有5分钟就可以分享一下，你现在经过这样子一天的这个分享之后，然后你有没有想到什么事情，或是你有没有想到一些尝试啊，改变任何的想法都可以这样。
Yeah, and say it without any judgment. Like again, don't judge. Just what ideas do you have, and then you'll go back later and think about what you really want to do.
对，不要急着判断这个 idea 可行还是不可行，做得到还是做不到，都先不要。然后就是先尽可能的就有更多的想法提出来，这样。
Yeah, so let's do a quick small group brainstorm. I'll come back in 5 minutes.
好，5分钟时间。我自己有一个回馈，就是我之前一直看 Albert 老师，我都觉得他很从容，就是他看起来就是总是这样子，怎么讲，悠悠哉哉，然后好像就是可以完成很多事情，这样又是三铁，又是顾问啊，然后又在教会有很多的服务啊，然后我就是很好奇，他怎么是永远都可以这么从容？那原来他就是用这样的方式，就是很清楚定义自己的工作观、人生观之后，然后不断的去尝试一些新的东西，去修改他的时间表，然后让他的时间表永远可以 align 他想要的东西。他就是透过这样的方式，对，就是好像找到一个解答，能够让我们就是告别这种很匆忙啊，然后很忙乱的这种人生。
Thanks, I appreciate that.
而且要住得很远，住得很远不会有人来打扰他。
哦，也是关键。
这里也是 ，you have to have a country life.
如果你住得太近的话，就会有人来敲门了。
对啊，
对，但是我住中立，我更远。
Yeah, no, that's great. In our group, we talked about planning and how hard it is to plan, but then also follow through with the plan, right?
对，就是谈到这个规划，然后还谈到这规划之后要怎么执行。
Right. So I think, and so we talked about then what does it mean to then plan realistically?
对，怎么样可以很实际的去做一些评估？对。
Yeah, and then maybe think about what does it mean to you? What does it mean? What does productivity mean to you?
对，生产力对你而言的定义是
right. And what's realistic, and and what will help you feel productive?
对，怎么样可以很实际的有一些生产力？
Yeah, and so I was sharing, and if you can tell from my schedule that actually, I don't give myself, I don't, what's the word? I give myself realistic goals for the day. I was sharing, like for my work, I might think, okay, if I can get 2 things done for work, like I'm happy. I don't think about all of the 100 things that I have to do, but if I could get just these 2 things done, they're pretty big pieces, then I'm okay. Everything else, I'm happy. If I need to shift, that's fine. Right. But then I think
在设定目标的时候是很实际的，就例如说他不会设定每一天要完成100件事，他可能就是2件很重要的事情这样，他只挑这种实际的而且可以做到可以执行的计划。
Right. Because if you're clear about your direction and your priorities, then those big things will be your priorities. And so there's just something about hitting something or complete something that's actually a priority that makes you feel good. If you do a lot of things, but they're not your priority, like you're not going to feel the same.
所以如果你在前面重要顺序已经都想好了，那就算你只做1-2件事，但这2件事对你来讲是很重要的，那你也觉得很开心。但如果你做了100件事，全部都不是很重要的时候，你就会觉得很忙乱、很无聊。
Right, because you will know you have this important thing that you didn't do, and you'll feel bad even though you did 100 things.
对，那这个感觉还会更差，因为你会知道那1-2件重要的事情你没做，然后但是你做了100件很不重要的事情。
Right, so all you were was just busy.
对，所以结论就是这个人就是忙。
Yeah. So again, it's all about alignment in terms of like kind of what's important, and then and knowing why you're doing this and what it is for.
对，所以最重要还是就是你在所做的事情跟你觉得重要的那个价值观是有连接的。
Yeah. So just do it. Like when we have these ideas, just go ahead and try. You might fail at it. Like when you're planning, you might, I failed again at this plan, but that's okay. Okay, what adjustments do I need to make it work next time? And then it's just a cycle, right? Do it, fail, learn, try again. Like that is design thinking right there.
对，所以就是当有些想法的时候就去做吧。那就算这个规划做了之后，发觉你就失败了，那其实也没关系，因为这只是 这个设计思考常常见的一个过程而已，就是过程当中就有一个实验，这实验本来就会失败的，它只是一个过程而已。对，然后如果你失败的话，你可以参加我们失败者联盟的聚会，我们昨天才刚办过一场相关活动讯息，可以跟我要。对对对，OK。
I know, I missed it because I think, I think one thing the book will say is you want to plan to fail fast and fail early. The more you fail, the earlier you fail, the earlier you can find success.
对，所以你如果这个失败的越多次啊，或是你失败的越早啊，你就可以越快的找到那个真的成功的是什么。
Right. So, but you have to try. You have to try and do it and experiment because if you don't, it's just all going to stay in your head and nothing gets done.
对，但是一定要尝试，因为尝试才会开始有后面的失败跟成功。
Right. And I'm reminded of Steve Covey, The Seventh Habit, right? 不断地更新.
You're 不断更新，对。
Yeah, you're constantly renewing, you're constantly adjusting and learning and growing.
对，所以要不断的去更新、调整，然后成长。
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna close now with a couple of slides. Just in summary. So a well-designed life. This is according to the book, not my words. This is the book. A well-designed life is generative. It is constantly creative, productive, changing, evolving, and there's always the possibility of surprise.
对，所以就像上面写，一个美好的生活设计是很有生命力的，然后有创意啊、生产力啊，然后它是很有弹性的啊，而且可以很积极的，然后让你生活当中充满惊喜。
Yeah. Yeah, and then this is what we've been talking about all day. A well-designed life is a life in which who you are, what you believe, and what you do all line up together.
对，那一个很好的设计就是它跟那个你是谁，然后你的信念，然后那个还有你做什么，这三件事如果可以连接在一起的时候，它就是一个很美好的一个设计。
Yeah. So if you look at your life now, like your life schedule, like if you want to look at your daily schedule or look at your life assessment, play, work, health, love. When you look at it now today, when you see that, does it look like you? Like when you see that, it's like, oh, that's me. That's who I am. Or do you feel like, wow, like that's so far from like what I want to be doing or who I am?
所以现在如果我们很真实的看一看我们那个不管是我们的时间表还是看看我们的那个评估生活的4个区块的评估，如果我们很真实看看这个真的是我吗？真的是我想要的吗？真的是我要的人生吗？对，我们可以很诚实的去做一些评估。
Right, because again, that quote I shared earlier, your life is perfectly designed for the results you get.
对，所以这个就回到我们最初一开始讲，就是我们现在的人生啊，它只是一个结果，那它是来自于我们怎么样设计我们的人生。
Right. So your daily schedule, how much energy you're putting in, those are the results of your design right now.
对，所以现在我们的结果都是我们设计出来的哦。
Right. So if you want the 结果 to change, you're going to have to change the 设计. You like that?
对，所以如果我们希望结果不一样，希望过一个不一样的人生，我们就需要去调整我们的设计。
Yeah. So final thought for the day. 后面可以麻烦你帮我读这个句话。
他说平衡是一种心态，取决于对自己心中所要的准则，让自己能自在的衡量那些要继续留在我们的生命中，或者大胆拒绝或丢开它。哇，这一句好 Google Translation 哦。
I know. It is. It was a last minute ad, but the meaning is it's a mindset, right? Like I think a well-designed life, a balanced life, it's a mindset. It's about knowing what's important, like what to hold on to and what to let go of in order to achieve what's possible for us.
对，它这个就是平衡，就是一种心态，它就是让你可以去做一些取舍啊，对，到底什么是重要的，然后哪些是你要丢掉，哪些是你要留着，那个重要顺序是很重要。
Yeah. So we go back to think about a work-life balance. It's actually not a time management problem, right? It's not even priorities. It's priorities is there, time management is there, but it's actually like, what is it you want to do? Like, what are you about? Who are you? Like, these are the questions we need to really think about. Then the balance comes after that, because then we have, I'll stop there. Yeah.
对，所以这个就是工作跟生活平衡，它从来都不是一个时间管理的问题，它最重要的问题还是你觉得什么东西重要，你的工作观，你的人生观。那当你这些东西都想清楚的时候，这个你就可以有一个平衡的这样的一个生活的一个形态出来。
Yeah, because if we are clear about our work view and our life view and the direction we want to take, that makes 1,000 decisions easier for us because we know what we're doing and where we're going.
对，只要知道你工作观、人生观，其实很多人生决定都会变得很简单，因为我们知道我们要的是什么。
Yeah. So I will end there. Thank you for your time and your participation. I hope this was helpful for you. And I want to add to that, if anyone on this call is interested in actually going through the book, like as a book club, or want to go through all the exercises, because I only mentioned a few of them. But if any of you are interested in like really wanting to do this work, I'm happy to work with you, or we can create a small group to do this work together. If this is something that interests you, we can do this. I'm not just presenting it because it's only an hour and a half. There's only so much you can do. But like if you want to actually do this work, like let's do it. Let's get a small group and let's do this work.
哇，如果这是一个很好的 offer， 大概我们可以省大概16万左右的这个课程费用。没有，就是这个，如果我们真的有人想要尝试这个书里面这个 life design 这个过程，我们可以组一个小组读书会，我们一起来讨论。
Yeah. So you can let me know, like Hongren know, or anybody know, and we'll see if we can put something together for the new. Because I think this is a good thing, a good opportunity now that we're going to a new year, a new season. And the future is also very uncertain. So we need to be certain about who we are and what we're going to do.
对，因为刚好就是也是要开始新年嘛，所以这个就是一个很好的时机可以做这件事。那个大家记得，如果你想要做这件事的话，请先联络我，然后汇款到这个账号啊。没有啦，开玩笑的，这就是可以可以联络我，或是联络 Albert 老师，或是联络就是在群组里面讲，你们都可以来。刚好新年是很适合可以做一个这样的一个活动。
我觉得洪仁哈，你能不能把那个 Albert 老师刚才所讲的这个项目，既然大家想去做的哈，能够因为今天来的人不多嘛，所以我们也给大家一个机会，大家都能够在一个群里头来做，好不好？
好啊，
所以有个简单写一个文案的好不好？就让大家知道一下我然后设计大概什么时候开始，什么时候结束，这样子的话要变成一个项目。
OK。好啊，有，而且这可以，因为我也有这本书，我有看过，所以大致了解那个架构。好吧，我写一个活动，然后丢在群组里面给大家。
对，然后看看 Albert 老师他的 schedule 是怎么样子，我们才能够把他的时间全用光。对，
我们要先跟他讲，他才有办法 reschedule。
他后面那一段他不需要知道了，就是说至少知道他有多少时间，我们全部要用掉。
对，记得要汇款到这个账号。OK，
好，谢谢大家，谢谢
Albert 老师精彩的分享。